Yo, what's up guys, it's Xrayz. Welcome back to another one of my top 10 episodes. This one is outside of Call of Duty. They're up every single Monday, so make sure to leave a suggestion down below for what you guys want me to cover next week. Today we're going to be doing the top 10 worst video games in the history of video games. This is all suggested from you guys, the viewers. You guys can be a part of this. All you have to do is follow me on Twitter. A link is down in the description below. And then next time I do a top 10, you guys can have your top 10 in here. Again, it's a community-driven top 10, so if your top 10 is in here, then feel free to leave it as a comment down below. Up on the screen now are the top 5s and just top picks from the last episode. If you guys want to see yours in the beginning of the next episode, then make sure to leave it as a comment down below. I'm going to be doing that in every single episode right at the beginning. So make sure to leave your top 10 down below in the comments, and you might be featured in the beginning. Now, with that said, let's jump straight into the top 10. The top 10 worst, absolute worst video games of all time. Again, community driven. Make sure to leave your top 10 below. Now, with that said, let's jump into our number 10 spot, which is going to be Naughty Bear. And basically, this was a game that I didn't really play it, but I saw a lot of reviews on this, and a lot of people were very upset at the game because of the fact that it was just a really broken game. It was laggy all the time, and honestly, the whole premise of the game is pretty dumb. Even the voice actor is so annoying. But anyways, that was our number 10 spot. Let's move on to our number 9 spot, which is going to be Rogue Warrior. And apparently this game, again, another one that I didn't play, fortunate enough to not have played it, is apparently a game with really horrible enemy AI. Apparently the most fun thing to do is just blow up tanks, and that's it. So, another extremely bad game. They're going to get even worse as we move on. Now, with that said, that was our number 9 spot. Let's move on to our number 8 spot, which is going to be Sports Champions. I mean, we all know that PlayStation and Xbox were both trying to cash in on that whatever whizzle-wazzle from the Wii, the motion sensing. And PlayStation came up with the PlayStation Eye and the motion whatever sticks. They look like a bunch of dildos, but people just hated it. And the game was terrible, absolutely terrible. I bet some people enjoyed it, but overall, just a game that no one was playing. It was just like as big of a cash-in as you could see. I think people were more pissed off at the fact that they were actually trying to get into that. I don't know, that's just me. But let's move on now to our number 7 spot, which is going to be still Battalion Heavy Armor again. We saw PlayStation, they had the PlayStation Eye, they had that Sports Champions. Well, now Xbox is trying to get their hands in on it with the Kinect sensor. It can track your full body, and they tried making a game around it, Steel Battalion, and it never worked. It was one of the most broken Kinect games ever released. The technology was not there. So, the game was completely broken. That's why it's the number 7 spot, because it was completely broken. Now, the next game, moving on to our number 6 spot, is going to be Alien Colonial Marine, and again, another one of those games with just absolutely terrible AI. But I mean, the worst part of the game was the AI. You couldn't really immerse yourself in the game because of how broken it was. So, really, really sad. But with that said, let's move on to our number 5 spot, our top 5 going into it. Our number 5 spot is going to go to Shaq Fu for the Super Nintendo. Now, I don't know who in their right mind thought that it was a great idea to put Shaq in his own fighting game, but they did. And again, the premise of this top 10 is broken because the fighting mechanics in this game were terrible and it was nowhere near fun. Why would you want to play this when you had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighters that you could buy that were way, way, way better as a game than this one? I don't know. Terrible. And they're making a Shaq Fu too, so I don't know what happened. I guess the demand for a bad game was just there. Now, with that said, let's move on to our number 4 spot. This is a special one, and it's PacMan for the Atari 2600. Now, the reason this one is so terrible is because of the fact that this wasn't even an official licensed PacMan game. Atari was just like, PacMan is hot right now, we gotta cash in on this. They made their own build of the game. The sound effects were terrible. The game had a bunch of glitches. It was nowhere fun at all. Nowhere fun. All the other Pac-Mans were game. And in fact, this one is infamous for being the game that caused the video game crash of 1983. So, one game that defined an entire market crashing. I don't know, but that's it for Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. Let's move on over to a game that Nintendo doesn't even acknowledge, which is Link to Faces of Evil. My god, this one, as well as the other Zelda game, was just terrible. It was a game for the CDI. The reason they had the rights to it was because Nintendo and them had a partnership at the time. It fell through and they were like, screw you guys, we're using your license. And they made their own Legend of Zelda game. Terrible. The art design was terrible. Link looked disgusting. The cutscenes were absolutely horrendous. And then when you were playing the game, you didn't know what you could jump on and what was background. It was absolutely terrible. broken mechanics, and honestly, I'm glad that Nintendo does not acknowledge any of these Zelda games because they're absolutely horrible. But anyways, that was our number 3 spot. Let's move on over to one that I played a lot when I had my Nintendo 64. Very, very infamous game, and it's going to be Superman 64, or that's not really its name, that's just what people call it. It didn't really have an official name. But Superman 64, what can you say about the game? My god. All you did was fly through hoops, it had terrible controls, you were picking up cars, you didn't know what the hell you were doing half the time. And the game was just broken. There were some areas where you would go in and nothing would happen. It was just like, what is going on? So it was a tedious game that you couldn't even pass. So, I mean, what is up with that? I don't know what happened. I guess it was the start or the trend of bad superhero video games. And I'm so glad that Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum came out, because those completely redeemed video games that were about superheroes. But with that being said, let's move on to our number 1 spot. And I think a lot of you guys know what it is. And if you don't, then I'm glad you don't know what it is. But number 1 spot is going to go to E.T. for the Atari. Oh my god. Again, another one of those games that was absolutely terrible. You couldn't tell what was going on screen. Even for an Atari lets you know, at least gives you a little bit of a hint what's going on screen. With E.T., you didn't know what the hell you were doing. You were falling in holes. You apparently could fly if you stretched up your neck. And there was really no premise to the game. Some dude was chasing you, and you didn't even know why he was chasing you, or what you were even supposed to do. You're just wandering around in different endless mazes. It was terrible. It was so bad, in fact, that there were rumors that this game sold so bad, and people hated it so much that they actually made a landfill full of E.T. games. And wouldn't you know it, just recently it was confirmed that this indeed did happen. Pictures on screen. That's how bad the game was, that they actually had a landfill. Oh my god. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the top 10 worst video games of all time. If you enjoyed it, make sure to slap a like and a favorite on the video. It does help the video get out there for more people to enjoy. Helps out my channel a ton. And also, if you guys are new and you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to check out my channel and subscribe. I do upload top 10s twice a week, so make sure to sub up so you won't miss a single video. But anyways, guys, make sure to leave a topic for next week. What do you guys want me to cover? Leave your personal top 10, top 5s, or just whatever game you thought was the worst down below, and you might be featured in the next episode. Thanks again so much for watching. Until next time, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Xrayz. I'm out. Peace.